What's going on, everyone? My name is Shane Scott, and welcome to the first Pro 406 podcast. I have Will Walton, the director of Billings, director in Billings, and I have Kyle Gibson, the director of the Glasgow Pro 406. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
How's
what's
it
up?
going?
So unfortunately, Tom couldn't make it, the other director out in Lewistown. So basically, we have everyone except Tom for this one. In this podcast, we're going to go over a couple things. It is March now. We just had our invitational for our first season. It went really good. Big shout out to all of our sponsors: MDT, WeBagged, Thunderbeast, Atlas Targets, Shooting Target 7, Accutac, Cabela's, Vortex. Let's see who else we got. Proof, Valkortson, Yowtech.
Forget our boys over at Rock Creek Coffee too.
Rock Creek Coffee. We had a lot. We had a lot of guys. Storm Data Books. So thank you to all those guys. You guys made the match 10 times better. We really appreciate it.
Couldn't have done it without you, and we can't do it without you. Your support, everything to us.
And big thanks for Oktoberfest Food Truck. If you're in Billings, they are great. They came out and gave us all some good grub, and it was delicious. So thank you to those guys too.
If you happen to see those guys out and about, they kind of have a route that you can look at on their Facebook page. They're definitely worth the time to stop out and get some good German grub.
It's delicious. So, boys, let's talk about the Invitational. I know, Kyle, you weren't there. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it. But
Yeah, I was the slacker and had to go with family stuff. I hate you all because I really wanted to be there. But
so on our part, I think it went great. We had about a little over 30 plus shooters. I think probably like 32 to 35 shooters.
I thought we had 38 for some reason. I can't remember.
We had 38 on the practice score, but we had like 3 people caught because they got sick. Kyle and his 2 kids didn't make it, so that was 3 less. So
again, weak cop-outs from the South Canadians.
I know.
Don't insult them like that. They're Northern Montaners.
Let me come down there with my hockey stick, yo.
Oh, man.
Don't insult them like that. They're not Canadian. That's an insult. Those are fighting words.
Yes, indeed.
So the invitational went good. We had 6 stages and a golf ball challenge. I think the stages were overall pretty good. I think we kind of learned that maybe the director should kind of talk about what our stages are, and really we did beforehand, but we really didn't think about that there was going to be that many prone matches or prone stages. We didn't really think of that. So that's something we got to fix for next invitational is not as many prone. I think we had all but 2.
I think you should all let me just make the entire course of fire. With how well my stages went over, you should just let me make the entire thing.
Your spinner froze up.
That is not my fault. That is due to bad setting up, which I was not there to prove.
That is true. You can blame
However, I heard everyone loved my gopher stage.
They did. Gopher stage, I heard, was very fun and very challenging. I think that was probably one of the hardest stages there.
So it had the lowest hit ratio of the entire match.
Well, technically, my first stage had the most negative points. Just want to say that.
Yeah, that's another thing that we're not going to be doing anymore.
Yeah, no more negatives.
Negative. Yeah.
Well, to get on a tangent, that also brings up an interesting point. You know, if you do a KYL rack, should you do it so that there is a negative point if you don't hit the target that you intended? Because that's the whole point of knowing your limits. If you hit the target, if there's no penalty, aren't you just going to try and shoot it anyway?
True, but how know your limits typically works is you go from left to right, going biggest to smallest. If you hit the wrong order, that's technically failing to engage the next target, which would be a miss. So, I mean, we didn't have one of those invitational, but yes, I see what you're saying.
But then it's not a know your limits, it's test your limits.
Yeah.
I don't know, and just throwing that out there.
Maybe
the only thing that I can say from what you're talking about is that I agree with you, and I think that would work out well. However, when it comes time to put it in practice score, it becomes problematic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Doing the math and practice score is pretty hard on know your limits. That's why I kind of didn't want to throw it into the invitational, just because as much as I love No Limits racks, I feel like everyone shot it a million times, especially with doing NRL courses of fire, and down in Billings we use it all the time. I feel like something different, something challenging. I really wish the Lewistown mover kept working. I was so bummed. That's crazy that's like the first time that thing's had thousands of rounds put into it and it stopped working.
I was one of the last people that got to shoot it, and that's the second time that I've gotten to shoot it, and every single time I love that target.
Yeah, Phil was looking for one of our shooters here in Billings. Phil, he has been looking forward all season to shoot a moving target. He knew Lewistown had moving targets. He was hoping they bring them down. They brought it down for the Invitational. He finds out. He's so excited. Goes up, and the shooter right before him is the one that breaks. And he's like so bummed that the moving target stopped.
That's funny.
He's just like, are you kidding me? But yeah, they changed the course of fire a little bit after that. And actually, I heard it became harder. The stage after the new course of fire is actually harder than the moving because you had to shoot different targets in different locations and made acquiring targets a little harder. But yeah, I think the Invitational went good.
Do you have any experience with shooting moving targets?
I have a little bit, yeah.
So let me just talk about my experience, and then you can correct me wherever I feel. And I want to talk about it within the experience of the stage modification. So my feeling on shooting a moving target is that once you figure out how to ambush it and you kind of know where your spot is, it's really not all that difficult because you get to stay locked into position, right?
There's two ways to shoot it. You can shoot it ambush, or you can stay on it holding the lead. Yeah.
And I typically ambush. I find that to be a lot easier for me in the all of 2 times that I've done it. But I can't imagine trying to shoot it like I would a shotgun. I just can't make my brain process it that way.
Right.
But when they changed the stage, all of a sudden, then you had to move through a full cycle of rotation while in the prone, and the amount of movement in your...
It was through the 3 barrels, so you had to go left barrel, right barrel, top barrel,
exactly.
And so you had to basically move positions and then acquire different targets, not just not a static, but instead of just ambushing it, you now had to actually move to 4 different targets, and I heard it was quite difficult. I was lucky I didn't get to shoot it. I was running the match, but
my dad was actually the RO on that stage, and he was watching it, and he was concerned. Like, he didn't know how to throw his lot in. Like, do we make everybody reshoot, or what do we do?
Right.
And then one of the gals actually from Glasgow, forget their names. He and his wife are firefighters.
Yep. Eric and Ann Miller, and their daughters Gwen and Ari Miller.
So his kids stepped up and cleaned house after every other dude around him just flopped it.
So let me tell you a story about Gwen. Gwen was the shooter that did that. So we were at Eric and Ann Miller match, their AME Precision Fieldcraft match in Jordan. And I watched Gwen go clean on a moving target on a 2 MOA target at 640 yards and clean it on a moving stage with a 25 Creedmoor. She cleaned it.
Nuts.
She's insane. She's just an amazing shooter that way, and she loves to shoot movers. They have a Caldwell mover at their house that they shoot all the time. So these girls are trained up.
It was pretty interesting because my dad, after he saw that performance from those 2 girls, he said, "There's no way that we're not going to find a way to make that scoring work." He's like, "It's just like that had to be more difficult than shooting the mover."
That's a perfect segue into basically our winners for the Invitational. Real quick, I guess we'll start off with the overall first place. Overall score was Brian Vicker, Billings guy. Did really good. Shot a 505 out of 600. Did really good. Second
That's
place
amazing.
Overall was Jason. Now, this is a Glasgow shooter. I can't remember. His last name is Molstad. Is that how you say it?
Molstead. Yep.
Molstead. He did really good. He got a 460 out of 600. Shot 91%. And third place overall was Brandon Seamers out of Billings, open class, 455. For each division, we had Brian Vicker in first place for base, Jason Molstead for second place, and Shane Oh Lord, Shane Burnins out of Billings for third place in the base. For open, we had first place was Brandon Seamers out of Billings. Second place, Mark Pulver out of Billings, and third place was Eric Miller out of Glasgow. Yeah, Eric Miller
Yep,
out of
Eric.
Glasgow. In the Young Guns category, first place was Riley Vicker out of Billings. Second place was Gwen Miller out of Glasgow. And third place was Ari Miller out of Glasgow. And then we did top ladies. Top ladies actually was first place was Riley Vicker out of Billings. Second place was, let's see here,
Claire Field.
Claire
Yep,
Field.
Claire.
And third place was Darcy Brown, both out of Glasgow. So overall, we did really good. I think the final breakdown was 11 points for Billings for the medal breakdown. Lewistown got 10 points, and Glasgow had 6. So the traveling trophy will go to Billings this year. Probably not.
Yeah, that hurts. I'm not gonna lie. That hurts.
Well, if you were there,
I bet,
Kyle,
yeah.
you could have won it for your guys.
We would have made a difference.
Would have definitely.
We would have gave him at least a point.
What's interesting this year was the open class. I mean, the open shooters shot. This is why I'm glad that, and this is a good segue into kind of where we're looking at going with scoring. This is why I think that the argument that you can't buy skill is really going to come into play a lot more than nothing will show you more than actually seeing data, and it was amazing to see somebody in the base class do what Brian did, especially with the little amount of experience that he had. He wasn't just the top base shooter, he was the top shooter overall, period.
Yeah, and the top
That guy
second place
might
shooter
have-
was Jason Molstead, who's also a base shooter.
A
So
base shooter.
2 base
Yeah.
shooters took first and second place, which is, incredible. So, and that
I
again,
think
that's,
that Brian might have a total of $500 into his kit.
That's pretty sweet, man.
yeah, he's shooting a Ruger Precision with a second focal point. Gosh, what
Plane.
scope is that? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's I couldn't remember what it was, but it's nothing special. I can tell you that.
That's pretty cool.
And I think that what's his name, Mr. Molstead there, wasn't he running an RPR too, or did he?
No, Jason's running the new B22 from Savage. It's got the MDT chassis on it. Their special chassis made for Savage with the Accu trigger on it.
Because I was asking
Yep,
about that
and
at the match. Was on my
a right, and I'm pretty sure he's shooting a Athlon Midas TAC on his.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
no, he's not shooting the he's shooting a BTR Gen 2.
Okay. I was gonna say
is what he's shooting.
Yeah,
so
either way, I mean, you're talking about both of those rifles. Shane and I, not to get off in the weeds on equipment, but he and I have had this conversation probably 10 times now. If I'm going to point anybody at any platform right out of the box to just go, here you go, it's everything that you need, it's really tough to beat that RPR.
Oh yeah, I mean, we both have CZs, and I still would probably recommend an RPR over the CZ just because of the price. I mean, you can't beat an RPR; they work great. They're really good entry level guns, and they pretty much. I mean, you can put a Ruger. The best part about it, I think, is because you can put a Ruger 1022 mag in it, and those mags they're great. I mean, they've had their problems, but overall, I mean, they're so inexpensive, and you can get a 3-pack on eBay for what, $40. I mean, they're perfect.
Yeah.
CZ mag, plastic, completely chintziest looking thing on the planet. $35 a piece.
Yep, ridiculous.
And it sticks out of the bottom of the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's silly. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to. The only thing that I have to say though is that they sound icky. RPRs just sound gross when they're on the line. Like I don't know what it is that I don't like about them.
Hey, they shoot great and they're accurate.
They
I
do.
understand. They have a weird sound to them. They sound clunky, even though they're not. It's weird.
I can hear it from across the range. Like I can tell somebody's running an RPR because it's chunk, 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 chunk. Like it just sounds like...
That's funny.
I mean, you look at the Morrises. I mean, Keenan Morris, one of the young guns for Billings, he shoots it. His dad used the same gun, and same thing, didn't like the sound of the clunkiness and went and bought himself a different gun, but the kid uses it and shoots great. I mean, outshoots his dad half the time. So, I mean, those RPRs are a heck of guns. I mean, they're really nice. But yeah, that's a good little segue into what we're going to talk about here is, so our next season starts in July. I guess July 1st, it's when the season opens. And we are changing how the scoring is going to be done. Now, we haven't finalized anything yet, so we're not going to go over anything like that, but basically it's going to be a skill-based ranking. So there's no longer going to be a base class and an open class. It's going to be based off your skill. And I think that's just going to show, like, it's basically going to represent the people better, because, I mean, you look at Brian Vicker, like you said, he's using an RPR with a, second focal point scope, and he got 505 points and, beat most of pretty much everyone. I mean, he did. He beat everyone. So, really, money doesn't buy skill, but, yeah, we're going to...
It's not to say, though, like, the one thing I want to throw in there about Brian, just to be fair, like, we're bragging him up a full lot. I mean, he had one of the best matches of his life. On the other hand, we had a guy like Mark Pulver who just did not have a good day. And Mark's a pretty decent shooter too. So it's not 100% substantial as far as, what we're trying to say. What we are going to move to is a system that classes you based on your long-term performance. So what we mean by that is that we're going to establish several matches before you're actually ranked. We don't want somebody going in and say they have the match of their life and now you're stuck in the A's forever. Versus, say, somebody could sandbag and then go, oh, yeah, well, I'm just a C-class shooter.
Correct. And me and Kyle have talked about this too, and we're putting the rules together as, pretty much every day now. And there's going to be rules in place and in oversight too of the directors that basically can step in and say, hey, this guy's sandbagging and he needs to be bumped up and stuff like that. So there's fail safes in that, so prevent gaming and people sandbagging. So we've thought about that. Yeah, I mean, I think a skill-based system is going to be a lot better. It's going to basically make, the entry-level shooters, who, for instance, someone who's entry-level might have a lot of money come in and they buy a really nice rig and, it's, let's say they're $2,000 in. Well, technically they'd be in the open class, but if they're a novice shooter, entry-level shooter, and they come in and they just get stomped, it's pretty discouraging going like, wow, I have the $2,000 gun and I'm just getting absolutely stomped. It's not really a good reflection of what their true skill is and whatever one's true skill is. So,
do you want to talk a little bit about that, Kyle? You've got by far the most experience with the concept.
Yeah, I can. So, basically, when you say like talk about the concept of it, just explain like the different styles. Yeah. So how we're gonna work this out is each match, like Shane and Willow said, we're gonna have qualifier matches that will help determine the scores and where everybody's gonna sit at. We're trying to discuss: do we start everybody in master class? That way, there is no sandbagging. You'll shoot a couple of matches most likely, and depending on what you score, for example, say that Mark Plover comes out of Billings, he shoots first place for this qualifier match. We would give him 100 points for his first place finish, and then we would base everyone else's score off of what he did. And practice score is the best thing because it automatically does that for us. It'll rank those shooters as we go down from the what did they do based off of that person that won the match overall. And then that will translate over to points that will go into our series. So that, we can keep track of those things and help people understand where they're at. It also gives them a data point to know if they're improving or not. So the way it's going to work
is... would be like Brian Vicker. for the Invitational, he got 100, or he didn't get, technically 100%, right? So he didn't score 600 out of 600. He got a 505 out of 600, but he's still
Right.
technically the highest. So his is 100%. So the next guy down, Jason Molsted, got 460 out of 600. So he was 91% of the winner. So basically, it goes on down from there. So I mean, like guys toward the middle of the table, they scored like a 300. They're at 60%, which Invitational is not a good accurate representation of what field you'd be in, because this is already the top of the top. So it'd be more. This isn't really a good thing to judge it off of, because everyone's percentages are all over the place for the Invitational. But
Exactly.
come a normal season match, it's basically we're looking about putting people in classes based off percentages. I think we haven't got the exact number down, but it's going to be kind of like maybe every 20, or the lower tier might be a bigger number than the rest. We're kind of still messing around with how it's going to work. So
yeah, we're throwing around ideas of doing like master class will be anything greater than 80%.
yeah, I think we
then
have all
you
the
go
names down, don't we? What didn't we decide on the names?
Yeah, I think master class will be 80 points and above. Expert class will be 60 or 50 to 70 or to 80, 79.9. Then we'll go to marksman, which is anything below 50%. And that'll just kind of give us a baseline of where to put everybody.
Yeah, and
So
for
then
the last category, can we call it FUD?
well, that'd be
no,
we
that'd
haven't.
be the 30% and lower.
Yeah,
The FUD class.
we haven't fully decided.
Yeah.
I mean, we've posted multiple different ways. We were talking about 100% to 80, an 80 to 50, a 50 to 0. We're talking about possibly 40, or like a fourth class, and doing it like a 30 and below for like entry level people. So I think we're gonna probably go with a 4 class system, just because for how the invitationals works is we score. It's like an Olympic medal system. 5 points goes to the first place, 3 points goes to the second place, 1 point goes to the third. So for the invited, we're probably going to take the top 3, or the 3 out of the 4 positions or ranks. So like you would take the master, the expert, and the marksman. You wouldn't take the entry level shooter, because it's not like they can't come to the match. It's just you're not gonna base a club skill off of an entry level shooter. Like, who has the best entry level? That's not really fair. Like, that's not a fair accurate representation of someone's skill. So we'll pick the 3 top, masterclass, expert, and marksman, and everyone's still welcome to these invitationals for now. Until, I mean, if it start getting too big, we may stop it from being an open match and making it just for the invited shooters. But as of this point, I think we're still gonna go with having
it's an open and closed match is what it is. It's open to the public, but it's closed to the circuit of competition that pertains to the traveling trophy.
Correct.
Exactly.
Like, for instance, Shane Burns out of Billings, he got 3rd place. Technically, he's not a Billings shooter. This was his first match he came to. So Billings did not get a point for that. I think the point actually went to Dave Storfa out of Lewistown. So Lewistown got the 3rd place point because he was the next person closest to that score. So
makes sense.
And what's interesting too about that character is that if we were to base our scores on entry level shooters, I would definitely sandbag with him.
Yeah, he's an entry level to what we're doing, but he ain't an entry level shooter. I mean, that guy is a really good 4H shooter, and he shot in many other matches, center fire
and
stuff.
What he's been doing for however long is Olympic juniors.
Yep, he coaches the Olympic junior team in Billings, so guy's a heck of a shooter.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good. We haven't decided on qualifications. We are in talks with a couple other clubs to maybe join this next season. So if we continue to grow, we're gonna have to maybe have a qualifier, or depending on what we may have to split it up, because 3 divisions plus a young guns. We haven't added the ladies officially yet. Ladies will still always be at every invitational a first, second, and third place medal. That's always going to be a thing. We aren't talking about adding a ladies division, but we have to, figure out how we're going to work that in, because if we're doing a 4 rank, or a 4 class system, do we have 4 different lady class systems? At that point, we don't have enough lady shooters to fill for classes. So it's hard because if we had more lady shooters, which we have quite a bit. I mean, Billings, I think we probably have about 4 or 5 now. Glasgow, you have quite a bit. I know Lewistown doesn't have any, but our goal is to eventually add a ladies class, but it's gonna have to be when we get more people because I don't see it being like it wouldn't be taken seriously if you only had like one, let's say one lady in the top class and 2 in the lower class, and it's like, oh yeah, she won first and she's the only person in it. It's like, well, it's just not gonna be taken seriously, and that just it doesn't accurately represent the ladies. I mean, the ladies they're kicking ass. I mean, they did great in the Invitational. They all scored really high up, and even in the overall season, I mean, geez, the Glasgow girls, they kicked butt. I mean, Claire and Darcy destroyed it. I mean, in the last season. So,
Do you want to hear something scary?
Yes, go ahead.
Claire. So Glasgow, we shoot NRL 22 Course of Fire. If you are in the top shooter of that class, you submit your scores to the NRL 22, and they do a monthly drawing. Claire won a cert for a voodoo rifle.
No.
Yep.
God.
Well, that's awesome.
Claire won
like
a $600 cert for a voodoo rifle.
As a person that just put down, what did I have to put down? 35% on $3,500. Yeah, do the math.
Yeah, granted, it's a voodoo. $600 doesn't even buy you half of the barreled action. It's still
no.
It's still $600, dude.
Is she gonna go ahead and go with it, you think?
I don't know what she's gonna do. She's shooting a Bergara B14R that she won at the Badlands Brawl last year at Wayne Brown's match. She won that flat out last year. So yeah, I don't know what she's gonna end up doing.
She likes that gun. I mean, Yowtech, one of our sponsors for the match, gave us
she
some
shoots it
well.
Mags.
And I was talking to her because I gave out one of the safety mags to her since she had a B14R, and she said she loved it. So I mean,
yeah.
I know technically.
I don't know what
the
she's
Voodoo
gonna do.
and the B14R share the same mag, right? They're the same footprint.
They are. Yep. Well, it's not. It's the same AICS footprint, but you can't interchange the mags. Yeah, my son also won a Voodoo cert last year at the COVID match, so he's hoping to buy her cert off of her.
Ooh, that's smart thinking right there. Double up. But
I don't know how that's going to work, so we don't know what we'll do yet. Yeah, he's been chopping a lot of firewood to get his Voodoo, and he's 12. So
I'm totally bummed that your kids and you couldn't come out, Kyle. That would have been awesome.
We were missing you guys. Speaking of, can we talk a little bit about Pro 406 ownership?
Yeah.
Sure. On what grounds are you talking about?
What we want to make perfectly clear, Kyle and I have been talking about this. We don't actually own Pro 406. Like, we started it up as a club for everybody.
Oh, you're talking about the Billings thing. Yeah. Okay.
Billings has no stake in that game.
Yeah, I guess to clarify this,
we're only about.
There's been a misunderstanding between some of the clubs. Billings is not Pro 406. That's kind of come out. We've heard that from people thinking that the Billings club is Pro 406. We're not. Billings is Yellowstone Rifle Club. Me and Will run we run matches out here at Yellowstone Rifle Club in Billings, and just like how the NRL would be or 4-H would be, we run a Pro 406 chapter program out here. So we are running Pro 406 matches in Billings, but we aren't this isn't saying Billings is the Pro 406. We're not. We're Yellowstone Rifle Club. That's our home club. Just like Lewistown, I think there's Central Montana Shooting Complex. They do other competitions, and they also shoot Pro 406 matches. Kyle, you guys are kind of, it's hard to say because you guys are kind of in a different situation than we all are.
Right. Yeah, we're not anybody. So
yeah. That's something that your shooters and you're going to have to come up with a name and kind of make your own club. Because, I mean,
no, we are not going with the South Canada Gangsters. No.
Will's idea earlier was the South Canada.
I'm not having a polar bear with the Tupac symbol as my mascot.
Yeah, we were talking about this before.
Come on, you guys could be the baby seal clubbers or something cool.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'd probably get in trouble for white supremacy because it's a big old white polar bear.
Oh, God.
No, but We actually watched videos on that today. Their skin or their hair is translucent. So
It's true. It's clear. They have clear skin with black skin underneath.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Yep.
before we get in trouble with PETA and a bunch of other different organizations for beating seals and discrimination, I guess. Yeah. So Kyle, you guys are going to have to come up with a club name for you guys, because you guys don't just shoot, Pro 406. I mean, just like the rest of us. I mean, I'm trying to start a
Right.
2-gun program here at Yellowstone Rifle Club. So, I mean, I'm not the Pro 406 when I do that. Will's trying to start a precision rifle kind of, PRS style matches out here. So he'd be shooting PRS out here. So, I mean, we do different things. These clubs, Pro 406 isn't Billings. We're not like, that's not only thing we are. We just shoot the series.
Right.
So
And
It's
one
a
of the other things
Montana
that I wanna-
rimfire series.
correct.
Exactly. And the other thing that I want everybody to know is that we're also pretty flexible on how we use the name too, as far as, I plan on using Pro 406 as well with whatever PRS stuff I try to get off the ground. It'll just be Precision Rifle Outlaws.
Yeah,
You
we're
know, if we
trying to
got
have
Marine
another
Corps, they
program
doing
underneath the
Shane's
Pro
thing,
406 name.
Practical Rifle Outlaws,
Right.
whatever, just the whole idea is just to have, some hats and some shirts and stuff like that that can let people know that they belong and,
Guys, I'm going to
have a
give you a
club
little
structure.
heads up warning. My phone is like beeping at me that it's going to die. I don't have a charger and I'm 20 minutes from home.
No worries. No worries.
So if I die, I apologize. It's
You're
not on
good.
purpose.
So yeah, like
Good.
Will was saying,
I
the Pro 406 basically we're thinking about also adding multiple different things, just like the NRL has an NRL and NRL 22 and NRL 22X type of thing. We're thinking about maybe adding some precision rifle stuff, more center fire, and possibly some 2-gun stuff, but that's talks for down the road. But as of right now,
Right.
we have 3 Pro 406 locations. We have a program in Lewistown, a program in Glasgow, and a program in Billings.
Right.
Hoping 2 more come aboard, but that's in talks right now. But yeah, like the whole point of this Pro 406 thing in each group isn't like it's basically meant to be teams. It's the
Right.
Glasgow team, it's the Billings team, it's the Lewistown team. It's
Yep.
let's see who. I mean, again, I don't want to push people apart, but let's see who the best club is in the state. This whole thing is Montana competition. The Pro 406. So
Well,
Well,
the end goal of it too was to get more people out shooting.
Exactly.
That's why we did this. We want to give people an avenue that they don't have to travel. I mean, granted, this is Montana, so we're going to travel anyway. But we're in Glasgow, so we do that for a grocery run.
Yeah.
But but the whole goal was to get more people involved in the shooting sports and to give them an avenue that they could judge themselves against other people. Not that we're judging things, but that's what we do. We
at the end of the
we
day, it's a
like to-
competition. It is a sport. So
right.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to stress to everybody is that this is not like the mob. Like, you don't have to do a blood oath and then like you can never, like, you're not even in, you're not even out. Like, you're either participating or you're not, and it's fine. We want you there, but you by no means owe us anything.
exactly, this is for fun and some competition. Let's test our skills and get new shooters into this, and get new shooters with experienced shooters, and get everyone shooting together and learn and become better shooters. And if we can make a fun little competition out of it, why not? So
What else do we have on the agenda here?
Other than that, that's pretty much it. We've talked about the invitational. I guess maybe a little introduction. We probably should at the beginning, but my name's Shane Scott. I am the Billings co-director for the Pro 406. Will is my co-director, well, we're both co-directors at the Billings Pro 406. Will, you want to talk about yourself for a second?
Not too much. Just a fat guy that likes to shoot. So, that kind of fun stuff.
I second that. I'm also a fat guy that likes to shoot. And then Kyle is the Glasgow director. Again, he's not out of a club. Me and Will are both a Yellowstone Rifle Club, and Kyle's kind of in limbo right now. But Kyle, you want to say anything about you, or did we lose you? I think
we
his phone
lost
may
him.
have died. Yep. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. We wanted to keep it short and sweet. We're gonna have more of these. I think what we're planning on doing is have a monthly podcast with all the directors, and then so that'll be once a month, and then in between that, every 2 weeks, kind of alternating, will be kind of either just me and Will or me and whoever I can get with me. And that's just going to be little small updates and kind of talking about what's going on. The big one with all the directors every month, we're basically just going to talk about each of our matches and kind of the scores and updates and talk about some shooters and pretty much, yeah, kind of go over little things every month. But yeah, everyone go check out our Facebook page. We have the Pro 406 Pro 406 Facebook page. We also have groups for each of the clubs. So Lewistown and Glasgow and Billings all have groups. Or I think Glasgow and Lewistown should have groups soon. Billings group, I think, what is our group? We are the Billings Pro 406, 22LR Yellowstone Rifle Club. But if you just type in Billings Pro 406, it comes up. Other than that, that's pretty much about it. We have a website. It's in the works. Tom's doing a really good job on it. It isn't his full-time job, so don't expect perfection, but we do have a website, just pro406.com. You can email us all there. Each of the directors, Will, Kyle, and Tom are on there. I am not, thank God. I already have enough emails I respond to, so yeah.
Fair enough.
But other than that, yeah, guys, go check out the Pro 406. If you guys are interested in if someone is listening to this who's never shot a Pro 406, you're interested in shooting it, again, go on the website, reach out to one of the 3 directors, depending on where you're at. You guys come out to one of our matches. Billings, we're the 4th Saturday. I think Lewistown is I can pull it up. Lewistown is the 3rd Saturday, and I think Glasgow is normally the 2nd, but I think they might be doing a 1st Saturday next month or this month. I know they had to change one around.
With all the groups, we deconflicted it to start off, and if you do happen to be one of the 2 people that are still listening to this, thank you. And also, if you are new and you're listening to this, please feel free to reach out to us. We will respond as quickly as possible. The other thing that I want to stress is that you don't need to bring any equipment to your first match. You certainly can, but we will have equipment available for new shooters.
Yeah, we have our lovely loaner gun, Juanita in Billings. She's a great gold gal. Works great. We even have loaner ammo for you. Might be a little old, but he'll still shoot great. Yeah. If anyone out there is
Well, it'll
listening,
shoot. Let's not lie about the capabilities here. It'll probably go bang.
I mean, it will go bang. I don't know if it could clean a 1/4-inch target, or not a 1/4-inch, the 1/4-inch target at on the no limits.
Spoiler
rack,
alert,
but,
that ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened like once. But it's still pretty good. The grouping's not terrible. For a little loaner gun, it ain't bad. And if you are someone listening to this who is actually thinking about hosting a Pro 406, person would be get in contact would either be me, probably me, or I mean, honestly, in the directors could do it. Yeah, Tom or Kyle. Yeah. I mean, realistically, any of us. But yeah, if you're looking at starting a Pro 406 in Montana, there's really nothing you really need to do besides talk to us and start shooting. We pride ourselves on not having a set course of fire, so it leaves the creativity to the director to do whatever they want. We do have a minimum requirement of 5 stages, but really other than that, there's no. I mean, if you want to go 500 yards, go for it. Your shooters might not score that high, but it's all up to you.
No fuss, no muss. It's up to you.
Yep, we're pretty relaxed. We have a very easy set of rules, which is pretty much no rules. So we're outlaws. It's in our name. Other than that,
there you go.
Thank you, Will. And
thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.
We will see you guys in the next podcast or at the next match.
Thanks again for hanging out, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.